Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. This is going to be one of my most important live streams ever. And we just hit on this channel over 192,000 subs. And I want to thank everybody for subscribing. Hit subscribe to this channel. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote in the Federalist last October, I said we're going to have a devastating stock market crash. I have been obsessed with this every single day. Everyone here, JG, Eric, Luke, thank you so very much. Everyone here, Eliza, you know that everybody here, if you watch this channel, I am obsessed over a couple of things, but mainly the economic recession we're about to have and the stock market crash that we're seeing in slow motion that I predicted. And this is going to come as a surprise to all the morally superior, wonderful, beautiful, really amazing liberal Democrats who pontificate and judge and condemn, and AOC and Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi and everybody at CNN and MSNBC and all the millennial CNNs on YouTube with 1 million subs to 4 million subs, to $20 million venture capital people. They will not know what happened. They will be completely stunned and surprised. Okay? Hit subscribe to this channel right now. JG! Let's get this party started for my man H.A. Goodman. Thank you so very much, JG. JG, it is an honor as always for me. Thank you so very much, JG. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And it's just always so wonderful to have you watch. Thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. Now, as I thank JG and everybody here and beg for super chat money, I'm going to tell everybody from here on out, save your money. Every week, every month, it's going to get very bad. I always say your life should be on an upward trajectory. Focus on love, happiness, success, joy, laughter, family, the people who care about you, people who won't disown you because of politics, people who are truly your friends and family and who truly love and respect you. Okay? Your life should be always advancing forward, success, happiness. That being said, the country is going into a tailspin, descending down into this dystopian nightmare. And you shouldn't confuse, JG, everybody here, you shouldn't confuse what's happening with our country. You shouldn't correlate directly what's happening with our country to your life personally. Yvette, hello all. Yvette Moore, thank you so very much, Yvette. Thank you. JG, Yvette, to my super chat, thank you so much. I can't do this without you. Thank you. We are heading towards we have mashed potato brains, President Poopy Pants at the helm. We have Democrats who have, with their policies, and I explained in the Federalist in October, it's the policies of the Democratic Party. Their policies, specifically ending economic activity 2 years ago, because unelected, revered bureaucrats and officials said we needed to do so. Because they said we needed to do so, we prevented as a society, and this was the Democratic Party, media, unelected bureaucrats, revered experts who said, let's prevent people from working. And we're going to give $10 trillion. Yvette, JG, everybody here, $10 trillion. $10 trillion through fiscal and monetary stimulus. Under Trump, in 2019, inflation was less than 2%, around 2%. Okay? Less than 2%. It's now 7.5% year over year, and it's actually a lot more than that, about 15%. And now you have the Federal Reserve, and what, just really quickly, this is, I mean, I want to stick to inflation and the stock market crash and the recession we're going to have, but the policies of the Democratic Party, it's like a dystopian nightmare. These are the most absurd, ridiculous, counterproductive, harmful policies, and they just get worse. So you know that Biden's administration was handing out a certain something to people with, let's say, substance issues, okay? Think of Hunter Biden. But it gets worse. So let's just really quickly, San Francisco, just really quickly, this is liberal Democrat utopia, okay? Liberal Democrat utopia. Homelessness in San Francisco Bay Area so bad now residents are being asked to house a homeless person in their own home. Politicians and charities claims locals want to be part of the solution. No, the solution is government. I thought that Democrats revere government, except when government doesn't work. And just if you're a conservative or libertarian or Trump supporter or Bernie supporter, you still want government to do certain things. That's why you pay taxes up the you-know-where. So conservatives and libertarians have no problem with government doing certain things at least. You knew you had a problem. And this is the same thing in every Democratic-run city. They talk and condemn and judge, and they pontificate, and they talk about cruelty with Trump, and they talk about, it's the same thing in Venice Beach. You have multi-million-dollar homes in Venice Beach with morally superior liberal Democrats paying taxes up the you-know-where. And now San Francisco wants people to actually house. Okay, God bless the homeless, and I understand anyone at any time, you, me, anybody at any time, could make certain decisions or have certain things take place to where we could end up homeless. Eric, thank you. Luke, thank you. Eric, by the way, Eric, everybody, if you're into video games, Eric has a fantastic channel. So check out his channel, ladies and gentlemen. Luke, hello. But JG, Yvette, they are asking people. Homelessness in the San Francisco Bay Area is now so bad, residents are being asked to house a homeless person in their own home. Does this make any sense to you? Is this an Onion article? This is Idiocracy, the documentary, but the liberal version. Does this make any sense to anyone here in the chat? Does this make any sense to anybody? You failed so miserably. This is the epicenter of liberal politics. Where's Nancy Pelosi here? Where's AOC? It's not her, obviously not even her state. But where's Bernie Sanders? The opposite takes place. Fossil fuels, oil is over $90. Crude. Fossil fuels are at all-time highs, yet they pontificate about climate. And I understand climate change is important, but the opposite is taking place. We're heading towards a devastating recession. And I told everybody this. In fact, the other day, one of my amazing subscribers said, HA, I shorted I shorted this and that, and I'm like, oh my God, because I didn't give the only specific advice, or the only advice, I never gave specific trading advice because I don't trade in the market. I haven't in years and years and years. But The only specific advice I said is if you are about to retire, you have no business being in the market right now because it's about to tank, and we see it today. And today could be the day that I've been talking about predicting. I mean, we're seeing it in slow motion, but it ain't going to get better from today, I don't think. I don't know if you could pinpoint today as, or even a couple of months back as the height was in September, November, December, and I was saying that it ain't going to get better then. It's only going to get worse. But today, there's no doubt they're going to raise interest rates either 50 basis points next in March, which is 0.5%, or they're going to get to from where it is now close to zero to 2.25%, 2.5% in about a year, maybe more than that. The market is going to tank. The economy is going to tank. Everything is going to just descend into a spiral. And this is going to take all the morally superior liberal Democrats by surprise because they know nothing about economics. Zero. I'm not an amazing economist at all. Okay, I'm not Jeremy Grantham and Michael Burry who've been telling people for a long time to be careful because the market is going to collapse. But now you have people. Charities are urging local families to take homeless people into their very homes. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to get into exactly why that's a risk. But that is a huge, huge risk for any family. Are you kidding me? You're just going to tell morally superior liberal Democrats or anyone to invite people you don't know into your own home so that they could live forever? Does it make any sense? And this is like they revere government, worship government, talk about socialism, talk about communism, and say, pontificate and judge and condemn and say, well, you know what, if the government says this, we're going to do this. The government failed, and now they're asking people in San Francisco to take care of a problem that they just ignored. They want homeless people to live with families. JG! HA, there's a rumor there will be an emergency 50 basis point hike. Yeah, tomorrow? I heard March, JG. Yvette, while your borders are open. Exactly. Yvette. Exactly. JG, I heard in March. So and that was quite possibly, or you know what, maybe it could be this week. I heard in March, but hold on one second. So city forecasts Federal Reserve to raise rates by 50 basis points in March. Citigroup economists anticipate a 50 basis point interest rate hike in March. Wall Street economists have been expecting a quarter-point hike when the Fed meets next month. Details of the January core CPI point to sustained inflation running around 6% and spreading more broadly rather than a slowing as Fed forecasts have assumed, wrote the City Economist. So, JG, I believe, I haven't heard the rumor about it being tomorrow, but they say in March. Liza, I need the coffee. I need the coffee to wake up or to keep going. It's not that great anyway at Starbucks. Herschel Ballard! Herschel Ballard! The Bolsheviks impose homeless borders on well-to-do Russians. Wow. in 1917. Wow, Herschel Ballard. This is just history repeating itself. History repeating itself. And what have I been saying, ladies and gentlemen? I'm no Jeremy Grantham. I'm no Michael Burry, okay? Those two are brilliant, okay? And Michael Burry and Jeremy Grantham have warned a great many people. They did a huge, you could say, mitzvah or good deed by warning people. And very few listened. Now, I listened. And then I wrote about it and I thought about it and I wrote about it in the Federalist. And I said, but they didn't really correlate. It wasn't really political with they were trying to be diplomatic. The policies of the Democratic Party caused all of this. And I've been saying, I wrote about it and I explained why those policies, those Democratic Party policies, directly correlated to the catastrophe we're seeing. So JG, 50 basis points in March, almost certainly. But I mean, they could look. Either way, I've been saying, and I predicted this in last year, they can raise interest rates. They can raise interest rates all they want. It's not going to work. But either the interest rate hike or the inflation rising and rising will tank the stock market and cause a recession because of the $10 trillion they pumped into the economy through stimulus checks and monetary stimulus and quantitative easing. One out of every $5 was created by the Fed. Herschel Ballard, thank you so very much as always, Herschel. Greatly appreciated. Oh, I agree with you, Eric. It's just the only thing open. You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, everybody here, there was a time in Southern California where you could go to, look, in the 90s, you could go to a whole bunch of coffee shops open till 1, 2 in the evening. And, even not long ago, now it's a dystopian nightmare. Nothing's open past 10. And it is what it is. And the only thing I can drink now, the only thing that's open is JG and Eric, everybody here. The only thing that it's open, right, it closes at 10 is one Starbucks drive-through. There's a couple Starbucks drive-throughs. There's one Starbucks drive-through a little bit far away that's open at 11. And I think there's one, oh no, I think it's 11's the latest. So, Monique Smith, hello. So I've been saying that either inflation or the interest rate hikes are going to tank the market. And the other day, ladies and gentlemen, one of my amazing subs said, I shorted this stock and a couple of indices, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't make any I didn't tell anybody. I'm not Jim Cramer, who, by the way, told people to invest in Facebook and PayPal. Oopsie. But I think it'll be PayPal and Facebook. Metaverse. Hi everybody. I'm Trump 2024 robot. What's the matter? Why is everyone upset? I thought this was the metaverse. Hey, I paid my fee to join the metaverse. Hey, you can't kick me out of Genesis Park and Grill and Lounge. I know when I'm not wanted. I'm leaving the metaverse. Anyway, we can do the metaverse later. I'll be the Trump 2020 gigantic red robot. But Trump 2024, sorry. But today, the market took a gigantic dump. Down, NASDAQ, everything down. Twitter missed earnings, down. Everything was down, and everyone's petrified now, and everyone's talking stock market crash. Type in stock market. I'm not on Twitter. You don't have to be on Twitter for but delete your account. I deleted mine 3 years ago. I'm so happy, but you know what? If you type in stock market crash on Twitter, you get something every 2 seconds. Okay? It is going to get bad. As I beg people for super chats, save your money every month. I can't tell you enough. Monique Smith! Are we turning into Argentina? Evita Peron. um, yeah. I mean, it's going to go Argentina right now, Brazil right now, Mexico right now, Germany right now. All these countries are experiencing either a recession or getting close to a recession. Monique, thank you so much, very much, Monique Smith. Thank you. It's going to get very bad, and they're probably going to pump more money into the economy again, because there's probably going to be a too big to fail situation, or hedge funds are going to go under. And when hedge funds go under, the banks are not going to want to use their own cash and probably get some way. They'll probably find some way to get bailed out from all the hedge fund losses, because margin is still at close to $1 trillion. We have margin debt, derivatives, inflation, interest rates, supply chain, key labor shortages, oil at over 100, going to be over $100 soon. It's going to get over $150. It's going to break the all-time high. I have been telling people this. And I mean, these are these live streams are going to be at like 1,000 or 2,000 soon. And you are on the ground floor, and I'm on the ground floor with you, because most people are like, oh, no, no. Well, that's bad, but I don't know. It's gonna get bad. Save your money. Thank you, Monique, as I beg people for super chat. Every month, every week, every month, at the end of the month, if you have some money you made in Bitcoin, if you had some money you made in stocks, take some profits off and put it in cash. Cash is okay, because you know what? There's deflation too. Unfortunately, sadly, people are going to go out of business, and there's going to be out of business sales, and you can buy things on sale. And I don't want this to happen. I told people I don't want this to happen. But it's going to happen. And I can't wait until they blame Trump. I can't wait until they blame Joe Manchin. Because it is impossible for the morally superior, wonderful, amazing Democrats to look into the mirror and admit that they caused all of this carnage. They did. 50 basis points is going to absolutely obliterate. That's like 2,000 to 3,000 points, 2,000 to 4,000 points off the Dow within a month, right then and there. Either within a couple of days or within a whole month or 2 months of trading. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize this. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Monique, thank you so much. Ted, Nina, hello. Valley South, hello. It is going to get really bad. It is going to get really, and you are going to see, you're going to see Democrats in panic mode. They are going to blame Trump. Everything's going to be Trump's fault. It's 2 years into mashed potato brains, President Poopy Pants' administration. Today he was asked about inflation, and Biden said, "Oh, you're being a wise guy." He's completely out to lunch. He, you know what? Um, you know what? What's his name? Kyle Dunnigan has a great Joe Biden, a message from Joe Biden. He is an amazing. Kyle Dunnigan is amazing. Okay, Awaken with JP is amazing too. But I mean, you have San Francisco asking people to allow like complete strangers into their house. All right, this is utopia. This is the morally superior, left-leaning, progressive, liberal progressive, Democratic Party, CNN, MSNBC utopia. This is exactly what they like. 50 basis points in March, oil at all-time highs, good for the climate change activists, and homelessness in New York. People are they're asking people to just, house, complete and utter strangers. And I can go ahead and describe the risk factor, which is tremendous. Okay, you don't invite anyone you don't know to your home ever. This is basic common sense and logic. I might not be the smartest person in the world, but I have basic common sense. The wonderful, morally superior Democrats have zero common sense. Common sense and logic and reason to them is like an affront on their sensibilities. This is the same thing happening in Venice, California. And it's run by only liberal Democrats. No, there are no Republicans. There are no Republicans that run California, really. The Republican Party is not, it's like barely exists in California. Maybe Northern California more so than Southern California. You have Devin Nunes, but, where's Devin Nunes? But like, you have like it's only liberal Democrats in California. And the thing is, like, they have taken this fantastic, great state and run it into the ground. It's not just, it's New York too. Every liberal utopia has been run into the ground with homelessness, crime, taxes beyond belief. People save money. People make money to pay taxes every year. Local, state, city taxes. Not to mention, not just federal income, but you have state taxes, and then you have city taxes, and you're taxed up the you-know-where. And then they ask you to house people, to house complete strangers. Okay? It's only going to get worse. I guess 80, hello. So it's like, it's only going to get worse. Lucky sport, exactly. So, really quickly, Peter Schiff is awesome. He's awesome. So, this is interesting. It's amazing that so many experts think the risk is that the Fed raises interest rates too much. No matter how high rates rise, it will not be high enough to bring inflation back to 2%. The real risk is that rates go up more than expected, but inflation doesn't come down. Now, I've been saying this as well. They've already, the Pandora's box of problems, from ending people's, economic lives and preventing them from working, and then obsessing over what for 2 years after, or a year and a half after. They pumped $10 trillion into the economy. One out of every $5 has been created by the Federal Reserve. I mean, of course, inflation was going to be the repercussion. But now, as Peter Schiff says, it doesn't matter what they do. They can raise it all they want. At this point, right now, Bank of St. Louis Fed President Jim Bullard called for a 50 basis point rate hike in March. That's the largest rate hike in 20 years. We have the highest inflation in 40 years. But 20 years ago, the economy was, soaring. Look at the dot-com crash. That happened, that was when the internet was, taking the world by storm. And, that was the height, the zenith of the economic expansion that Bill Clinton, was lucky enough to fall into. Oh my goodness, I remember those days. We used to have meetings in the Oval Office. I used to talk about expansion and, and how things would spike upwards. I'm actually referring to the stock market. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyway, I remember those days. The now when you're talking about raising interest rates now, you're talking about raising interest rates only because you've pumped so much money into the market. You've pumped so much money into the market that you need to find some way to keep prices down, because you have supply chain the ending the economic activity, shutting down economic activity and economies caused supply chain problems and labor shortages in key industries. And that's a huge reason, huge reason why inflation is going through the roof. Because demand suddenly spiked upwards. You went from a normal economy. In early 2020 to you went from a normal economy from early 2020 to 22 million unemployed. And then they say, well, it was because of you know what? No, it was our reaction to you know what. You didn't have to do that. It is so difficult to slowly explain to the morally superior among us, who are very intelligent, but they lack wisdom and basic common sense. It is so impossible to explain. It is so impossible to explain. So, Monique, thank you again. JG, everybody here, thank you. Herschel, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. As I beg for super chat dollars, I'm telling everybody, save your money every month. Save your money every single month. Everybody here, I don't care if you're 20 years old watching or you're 80 years old watching, save your money every single month, because it is going to get very bad. We're heading towards a recession. And the recession, I don't know who knows when we get out of a recession this time? Because when the market tanks to 20,000 in the Dow, Bitcoin gets to 10,000, and you have real labor shortages and real supply chain breakdowns. They keep saying the supply chain will get better, it'll get better. It doesn't, it's not getting better. Because demand is skyrocketing. If demand increases too quickly, what happens to the supply chain? You don't have to be, you don't have to be Adam Smith or, any Fed chairman. First of all, do you think Jerome Powell even cares about when he tells you that inflation was temporary? Of course he knew it wasn't temporary. Do you think a schmuck like me knows more about economics than Jerome Powell? But I have a greater grasp of common sense and logic. I knew he was lying because he couldn't have been ignorant. So I know the man's lying. Does he know? This is the mentally challenged paradigm of thought that Democrats have. Well, he's an economist. He knows more than you. You shouldn't have an opinion. It's like, no, just because you're an economist and you're a Fed chairman, that doesn't mean that you're immune to, making a mistake. And it also doesn't mean that you're telling the truth all the time. He obviously was lying. And months back, I kept saying on the stock market crash channel, and I will start. I've been. I don't know why it's taking me so long to get back, but I will do a huge a bunch of segments tomorrow. He was lying. He told everyone inflation was temporary. Of course, it wasn't. Of course, it was only going to get worse. That's why I kept saying he is lying. He knows that it's going to get worse. Now, with Greenspan or Bernanke, Ed from Queens. Ed from Queens. I was worried. I was thinking about you. My short ETF stock's up today. Lost on Twitter short. But Twitter went down, though. Twitter went down, right? But see, the stock buyback, Ed, they just did that. The stock buyback is the only reason it didn't go down $5 today. But be careful, Ed. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that, Ed from Queens. Thank you. Be careful. Shorting is very, very, very risky. But I mean, look, the market is. I don't give specific. I never say specific. I never give specific investment trading advice other than if you were about to retire, you have no business in the market. But I was thinking of you, Ed, and I was hoping. I was like, oh my God. But today is the day, I think. Ed, today is the day that I don't think it gets better from here on out. But be careful. Thank you so very much, Ed. Thank you. JG. I'm a Schlemiel. JG. Ed from Queens, I was thinking about you yesterday. I was like, oh my God, Ed from Queens, and the market tanked. It's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. Here, Peter Schiff. Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much, Ed. As always, thank you, Ed. To my super chat, thank you, Ed. I'm glad at least some of the trades went up today. The yield of the 10. Oh, okay. So the 10-year and the 2-year. Now the 2-year and the 10-year. Really quickly. This is an indicator of. This is an indicator. Oh, so inflation eroded pay by 1.7%. Check that out. So wages actually, real wages, you actually lost probably 2%, okay? They're probably lying about that too. They're always lying about something. But here, let's just really quickly. So 2-year Treasury and 10-year Treasury. Ed from Queens, thank you. I'm glad it kind of worked out, but be careful, Ed. Thank you. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Where is it? Okay. So the 2-year Treasury rate is yield is 1.36%, and it just hit 2% today. 1.947. Now, if the 2-year reaches close to or eclipses or goes above the 10-year, that's a very bad sign. That's a very bad sign. That means inflation is, that means recession is around the corner. So just look at all these. This is all mashed potato brains. Okay? And Biden, wise guy. Hey, come on, man. You're being a wise guy, man. Let's see. Do we have the video of this? Do we have the video of this? Come on, man, people now. Come on, people now. Being a wise guy, man. You're being a wise person, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's go with this. Hold on one second here. No! What is going on here? Didn't I? Oh, God, dude. What is going on? Okay, hold on. All right, hold on.
Cut off, meaning
Sorry. Okay. This is the man that's going to defend us from Putin right here. All right, hold on.
that the products, for example, automobiles, the lack of computer chips to be able to build those automobiles so they could function, they need those computer chips. They were not available. So what happens with the number? What happened was well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit.
I think a lot of Americans are wondering what your definition of temporary is.
Well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit, and I understand that's your job. But look, at the time,
What? You're being a wise guy a little bit with me? Are you kidding me? Can media embrace your rear end even more? If it was Trump, my God. If it was Trump, my God. Now look, he didn't eat his Wheaties today, and look what he says.
what happened was let's look at the reason for the inflation. The reason for the inflation is the supply chains were cut off, meaning that the products, for example, automobiles, the lack of computer chips to be able to build those automobiles so they could function, they need those computer chips. They were not available. So what happens with the number of cars that were reduced, the new cars reduced, it made up at one point 1/3 the cost of inflation because the price of automobiles were up. So what I did when
And who pushed for this economic catastrophe? Why was there a chip shortage? Why was there a labor shortage? Why was there a spike in demand? Because Democrats gleefully stated we must end economic activity under Trump's administration, as did media, which is an echo chamber or a megaphone for Democratic Party politics. It was you, mashed potato brains, and your party that pushed for all the policies that directly led to the spike in demand and directly led to the shortages. And it's like unbelievable. They are brilliant masters at deflection and projection and, just this sleight of hand. Like, oh, well, it wasn't really us, but it was us. But it wasn't really us, but it was us.
I went out and made sure we started to make those domestically. We got Intel to come in and provide $20 billion to build a new facility. A number of organizations are doing the same kinds of things.
When can Americans expect some relief from this soaring inflation?
According to Nobel laureates, 14 of them that contacted me and a number of corporate leaders, it ought to be able to start to taper off as we go through this year. In the meantime, I'm going to
According to Nobel laureates. Ah! According to this is like a Pavlovian response for morally superior Democrats. According to Nobel laureates? Oh my God. You mean Nobel Prize winning liberal Democrats? What about people like Jeremy Grantham and Michael Burry? Maybe they haven't won a Nobel Prize, but they have billions of dollars from investing. They've been saying that it's the greatest bubble of all time. But this is how there's all public relations. You know, the information that we get is good, but the information you get that's not from us is bad. Canned pears! Does Joe even know what computer chips are? I think he probably thinks they're like chocolate chips. Uh, Jesus matters, and I don't buy any stocks or any, um, you know, anything to do with equities at all. I think everything's gonna tank. Canned pears, thank you. I think everything's gonna tank. And like I say, exactly, amazing Kurlangus, exactly. Can you this is unbelievable here. This is totally this is the way Democrats, when they communicate ideas they can't defend, they always say, well, it's an appeal to authority. Well, very smart people agree with me. Of course, the sky is falling directly because of our policies, but very smart people agree with me.
Organizations are doing the same kinds of things.
When can Americans expect some relief from this soaring inflation?
According to Nobel laureates, 14 of them that contacted me and a number of corporate leaders, it's ought to be able to start to taper off as we go through this year. In the meantime, I'm going to do everything in my power to deal with the big points that are impacting most people in their homes.
What did he say to deal with the big points that are impacting people? What? What did he say?
Got some stuff for human. 150 milligrams of grapeseed extract. And it's like a clinically studied version. They do like
Nah. Ah.
In the meantime, I'm going to do everything in my power to deal with the big points that are impacting most people in their homes.
I'm going to do everything in my power to deal with the big points that are impacting people in their homes. Okay. Well, there are no big points aside from the homeless people you're trying to shove into people's houses. What are the big points? Let's see. I guess he means inflation. I guess he means energy costs. So those are the big points impacting people in their homes. Honey, do you know any big points impacting us? Yeah, there's so many big points, honey. Hopefully President Biden can help us with the big points. Come on, man. I guess your big points, man. Inflation, man. I got 13 Nobel laureates, man. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, he is like they didn't like Trump because of Trump's personality. Trump's personality was abrasive. Trump's personality was abrasive. Is this man winning any awards for his personality? Can you understand him long enough to decipher whether he has a fantastic personality or an abrasive? Well, he has an abrasive personality. He called a reporter a you know what, and then this reporter, this journalist, he says, "Oh yeah, you're being a wise guy." He called Charlemagne the God a wise guy. He calls anybody a wise guy if they actually ask him a question. Meanwhile, Trump is disparaged to his face beyond belief. And Biden, and same thing with Kamala Harris. Like, if they are just questioned at all, if they are just in the least bit actually questioned, they don't know how to act. It's like, oh my God, this is horrible. They're used to media being so in the tank. But here, this is hilarious. They have the audacity. Bernard Sanders. Hey, Lizzie, thanks for backing me. Thanks for supporting me and giving me your vote and endorsing me in 2016, Liz. Thank you so very much. You know, you were very kind in 2016 to endorse me. I never endorsed you. Aha! You see? You know what I was doing there? What? I was trying to point out that you didn't endorse me. You know the song from the OJ's, Backstabbing? They don't even be home, but they still keep on calling. That's you. You see, you didn't endorse me, but you tried to be Hillary Clinton's vice president. How did that work out, Lizzie? How did that DNA test work out? You failed your own DNA test. Then you said that I said that a woman couldn't be president. You mishegas. That's not exactly anything I said. I said Clinton couldn't be president. Clean the earwax from your ears. Your ears. Anyway, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. Or in 2020, when you decide to run for President, Elizabeth Warren, cutting my support in two, knowing very well you would backstab me again. That's what friends are for. Ugh. Yentas everywhere. Yentas everywhere unite. Oh, let me tweet about inflation that I caused with my horrible policies. And who's going to read it? The former Bernie Sanders booster, greatest Bernie Sanders booster, H.A. Badman. A embarrassing moment in my political career to have this horrible human being, H.A. Badman, write on my behalf. Shouldn't he have known that I didn't mean to win anyway? Stupid H.A. Next time I'm running, stay far away from my campaign, Goodman. You know very well I have no intention of winning anything. The problem is not that a low-income worker got a 50-cent raise 2 weeks ago and a $1,400 check last year. The problem is that corporations are using inflation as an excuse to jack up prices. Don't get so happy, Tubin, so that they can make record-breaking profits to enrich CEOs and wealthy shareholders. Notice how he doesn't ever look in the mirror. He doesn't ever look in the mirror. It was his policies. It was his policies that did this. His policies. Okay? He pushed, along with Democrats, because he's a Democrat, he pushed for an end to prevent people from working. And they can go and say, well, you know, the experts told us, the experts ran this country into the ground with the help of the Democratic Party. Then you have Elizabeth Warren, who failed her DNA test. One clear explanation for high inflation? Yeah, your policies. Giant corporations are exploiting. It's not the corporations. It's not, and the corporate executives are bragging about their higher profits. We need to boost competition. It has nothing to do with competition now. You pump $10 trillion into the economy. You pump $10 trillion into the economy. I mean, they live in their own fairy tale world. It has nothing to do with corporations. So let's just go now. Just type in inflation, see what all these people are saying. Oh, here we go. Corporations. It has nothing to do with the corporations. The corporations are charging more because the consumer price index is at an all-time high. That's why the consumer price index is at an all-time high. Because when you ended economic activity, you did so based on the apoplectic reaction of unelected officials. Corporations are bragging on record high profits. No, they're not anymore. They're worried about inflation. It's price gouging. It's not price gouging. It's not price gouging when you're still going to have inflation a year from now, and corporate profits are going to decline. This is something also they don't understand, the morally superior on the left. Corporate profits are only staying up because stimulus checks allowed corporations to, yes, charge more, but they did so because they said, well, the government and the Fed are pumping money into the economy, trillions upon trillions of dollars. And also the consumer price index was at an all-time high as well. So it did cost these corporations more for their goods and services. This is true. If they're admitting inflation is 7.5%, imagine here, this is Robert Reich. This is hilarious. The right wants to blame inflation on Biden. Yeah. Do you know what they never talk about? The deeper structural driver of inflation, the concentration of American economy hands on the flu. Again, this is 2 years into Biden. This is Robert Reich is like completely not dealing with reality. It's 2 years into Biden's administration. 2 years. We had less than 2% inflation in 2019 with Trump. Go look it up. Okay, it was around 2%. And Robert Reich, his political party pushed to end economic activity. Then when they said, oh, we can start back up again, demand skyrocketed, which caused the inflation. And the $10 trillion pumped into the economy to replicate economic activity. It's not rocket science. This man is an economist, but he's a political activist or an operative first. He knows very well that the concentration of money into the hands of a few, you don't think that happened during President Obama's administration? You don't think it's happening under Biden now? So they're not gonna take wealth away from the wealthiest people. Amazon, Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post, which is a DNC newsletter, which is like a Democratic Party, basically a Democratic Party, newsletter. The New York Times is even worse. I never hear Robert Reich talk about how Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post. So so is he saying that if suddenly billionaires became millionaires, we wouldn't have inflation? That wouldn't do anything to inflation. We pumped $10 trillion into the economy and then shut down economies, shut down economies, then pumped the money and then opened back up and then the demand spiked. This is self-induced. And it was Democrats and media that were cheerleading all of this. Now, RNC, what the RNC should do is actually put out a video of Howard Stern and others. That's what the RNC should do. Not going to get too into it, but that's what they should do. So, I mean, it's like let's look at this was a self-induced wound. Here, you can just look. You can just look. So the market's probably going to tank again tomorrow, and we'll see eventually the 2 to 3,000 point drops, and we will see the recession, unfortunately. But just go back in time for a second. Too soon. Open up. Trump. Experts. Here. Look. This just too soon. Let's see if you too soon. Okay. Okay. Look right here. This was all you heard all throughout 20. Experts say opening up too soon. NPR. Trump says he may soon push businesses to reopen. Defying the advice of experts. Defying the advice of experts. This was the reason inflation went up. You ended the economic activity of the greatest economy in the world. You pumped $10 trillion into the economy gleefully. You took credit for saving people after you ruined their economic future. Then you blamed everything under the sun except your own policies for the inflation you created. But just look, Trump considers reopening economy over experts' objections. And then Trump, this is what our economy wasn't built to be shut down. He is right. Trump pushes back against the experts. Democrats hid behind experts. That's all they did. Hid behind experts. It's endless. Trump hopes to have U.S. reopened by Easter despite experts. Over 150 experts urge Trump, Congress states, to shut U.S. down again. They were gleeful. They gleefully wanted to shut down. This is economic. This is YouTube policies. I'm reading economic. This is for posterity. Posterity has nothing to do with you know what. This is the economic issue. Or a trip down memory lane in terms of economics. They pushed. They did not want. Exactly. They did not want to open up. They wanted to keep the economy shut down. They wanted to keep the economy shut down because if they did so, oh wow. 1 second. Wow. Um, so they don't want to talk about they don't want to talk about how their policies caused all of this. And people don't really see how this is a political issue yet. They're not looking at it like a political issue just yet. They're not looking at it like a political issue just yet. I just got some really good news. I mean, good news from about something really beautiful. Um, thank you though for your concern, everybody. Yes, some really beautiful good news. Um, but I mean, who knows? This is not really like, you know, this is not really. I mean, you could focus on the Dow futures and the Nasdaq futures. Look, this thing's going to 20, closer to 20,000, or all the way down to 20,000. They keep on saying it's price gouging on the left. Even okay, they're not. They're making up an excuse that is it's not accurate. Although there is price gouging, that's not why there's inflation. That's not why there's inflation. Corporations will always uh, charge more for goods and services if they can. If people are willing to pay more, the reason that people were willing to pay more is they got stimulus checks, and then money was pumped into the economy from the government. But see, again, if the economy was functioning, you would have a natural balance of supply and demand, and people probably wouldn't be paying more or wouldn't be willing to accept the increase in goods and services. The increase in goods and services are also there because of the consumer price index was at an all-time high, and there were supply chain breakdowns. So it's not only price gouging, although yeah, there was price gouging, but again, you created the environment for all of this with your policies. Your apoplectic, hysterical, completely counterproductive policies. They did this to the country in large part to get Trump out of office. Then they got Trump out of office, and they still weren't happy. They got JG. They got exactly what they wanted, and they're still not happy. Everyone here, Monique, everyone here, Kimberly, everyone here, they got Trump out of office, and they're still not happy. Why? Because everything Trump said is happening. Okay, the stock market is crashing, economy is down in the toilet, and they don't know who to blame. They don't know. Listen, they don't know who to blame. They can't blame anybody. But here, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to toot my own tubin. But here, if you look, I wrote about this in the Federalist, wired down in October of 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Please go ahead if you're still on social media anywhere on social media, share that segment. I mean, share that article everywhere if you're still on social media. I am not on Twitter. I am not on Facebook. But if you're on Gab, whatever, Twitter, go ahead and share this because I called this. Very few people in the realm of politics. Now, there's a great YouTube channel called Michael Invests and Tries to Make Sense. He's fantastic. Sorry. Michael Invests and Tries to Make Money. Yvette, I think that he lives in your country, or I'm not exactly where he's. I think he's either from Australia or New Zealand. I know there's two different countries, but but Michael invests and tries to make money. I mean, he'll be at 1 million subs, so he's fantastic. Michael invests and tries to make money. Subscribe to his channel right now. Michael invests and tries to make money. He is extremely knowledgeable, eloquent, always prepared. His calls and his viewpoints are prescient, and he knows what he's talking about. He's been talking about a market crash for a long time. Okay? So there's also another channel, great channel called Epic Economist. That's a fantastic one. The voiceover on that, oh my God.
Supply chain breakdowns are causing massive bottlenecks.
It is the most amazing voice. Epic Economist. That's a great channel also. And it's like, if you want a reality check, it's fantastic.
Michael Burry predicts the worst market crash in the history of mankind by a magnitude of 25.
Anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know. Epic Economist is fantastic. Michael invests and tries to make money is fantastic. Subscribe to the Epic Economist. He's fantastic. There's a lot of good channels. They're better than a lot of the 1 million, 2 million sub or 1 million or there's some other good ones too. There's some other good ones too. Generally, I like, channels that are like 100,000 to 200,000. Stephen Van Meter is fantastic too. So he has a YouTube channel. He's excellent. He has 92,000, almost 93,000 subs, or a little over 92,000. He deserves 1 million subs. Stephen Van Meter is excellent. Okay, there's a lot of really good. So Stephen Van Meter, subscribe to his channel. He's very good, very very good. And like I said, I mean, this is all going to be taken. They're all going to be, look, everyone here is going to be taken by the investors. The investors podcast is very good. The investors podcast network is very good. That's very very good. They have an amazing segment with Jeremy Grantham that's predicted all of this. So what can I tell you? I mean, there's a lot of good channels. There's a lot of good channels focused on the economy or stock market or investing. Gregory Mannarino, he's awesome. He's very, very, very good. He's excellent. Gerald Celente. Oh my God. I love Gerald Celente. He has segments with Judge Andrew Napolitano. I love those segments. Gerald Celente deserves 1 million subs. He is absolutely, absolutely awesome. He's absolutely awesome. I mean, there's a lot of people that there's a lot of people there's a lot of people that you should like look at. There's a lot of people that are just awesome. Gerald Celente is fantastic. He is fantastic. Let's see. I'm trying to look at like the people I've seen lately. Who else? Patrick Boyle is fantastic. He has a great, great, great channel. He's awesome. Like I said, Stephen Van Meter is very, very, very good. He's awesome. Has a great channel. Okay, I'll stop doing this in a second, but you know, there's a couple channels that I'm missing right now. But I'll get to those channels soon, next time. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I told everyone this, and George Gammon is fantastic. He's fantastic. Yes, subscribe to George Gammon. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There's another channel that everyone should subscribe to. Oh, okay. It's Stansbury Research. She is fantastic. This is also an amazing channel, Stansbury Research. She deserves like millions and millions of subs. Like an absolutely amazing, amazing channel. So Stansbury Research, that's awesome. I watch that also. So yeah, Stansbury Research is awesome. Amazing interviews. I mean, definitely start, definitely start watching, the if you start looking, ladies and gentlemen, at the investing channels that I talked about just now, Ted, I'm not investing though. I am. Globe Roamer Sticks is awesome. So yeah, I mean, Sticks is fantastic. Sticks Exenhammer is fantastic. That in terms of politics, he also talks about economic issues. Also, he's awesome, absolutely awesome. But I was talking about just the channels, investing channels. But I'm not investing in anything now. I just save money. I'm trying to save money, which is impossible with taxes in Southern California, but save as much money as possible as I beg you for Super Chat. Ted, thank you. I mean, it's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that people don't. This is the thing. If you're watching right now at 11:24 p.m. on H.A. Goodman on the live stream, and you're watching, and I have a picture of my my article, and you're watching today because inflation is through the roof. You know what's ahead. You know what's going to take place. We all have a good grasp of common sense. Michael Burry, Jeremy Grantham, look up every day, just replay segments of Jeremy Grantham. Okay? Jeremy Grantham, legendary investor, called every market crash and called every bubble. E-Bray! We will invest in savings. Exactly. No, and seriously, E-Bray, thank you. As I thank you and beg for super chat. E-Bray, exactly. Glow Roamer, that's right. I'm very happy for them. E-Bray, save money, ladies and gentlemen, every single week, every single month, save money. Okay? Save money. Because what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that E-Bray, thank you so very much. Look, there's nothing wrong with putting money in a savings account. Forget about inflation because there's deflation also. You're going to get things, unfortunately, you're going to get things, unfortunately, you're going to be able to buy things half off or 75% off or whatever. eBay, thank you. Definitely save money every month. If you're about to retire, you have no business. You have no business being in the stock market. eBay, thank you so very, very much. So kind of you for the kind words as well. Globe Roamer, thank you. eBay, everybody here, every month. Yes, Daniela. She's fantastic. She's fantastic from Kidco. That's right. Ed from Queens. Yeah. Daniela Stansbury Investment is fantastic. You know, those channels are apolitical, and they're not going to tell you that the Democratic Party caused all of this. And Ed, thank you so very much. But the Democratic Party caused all of this. And you ask yourself, Ed, everyone here, David, everyone here, ask yourself this one question. JG, Eric, are things going to get better in terms of the economy next month? Let's start there. Are things going to get better? Okay? Is inflation going to get is inflation going to subside next month? Is it going to get worse? So in the chat, is it going to get worse or better? What do you think? Obviously, it's going to get worse. What about 2-3 months from now? What about the end of the year? This is the worst possible scenario for the Democratic Party because you have midterms coming up. I mean, it's going to be a catastrophe, a political catastrophe. They've governed for 4 years. In Congress, they have produced nothing but tragedy and a catastrophe, an absolute catastrophe. No Medicare for all, no Green New Deal, no ending the filibuster, no packing the courts, no taking care of student loan debt. They lied about everything. And it is a cult. It's like a religious cult. If you're just passing out flyers near the beach for like this cult. It's like the same thing as the Democratic Party, but CNN and MSNBC pass out the flyers through their apoplectic coverage of Trump. Savings account paying zero. That's true, Ed. That's true. But the thing is, Ed, I would suggest everyone preserve capital. Capital preservation is the most important thing for the next year, year and a half, 2 years. Because it's very difficult to go like who's seen like on Netflix the or cable the you know the boats that go out and get tuna, you know um those different shows, right? You can't go fishing for tuna if there's a terrible storm at sea. And I don't think you can really invest if there's so much volatility. I don't think it's possible to invest with the amount of volatility. I just don't think I think that every month you need liquidity, and you need money. God forbid if you're working in an office or at a corporation and they have to lay off people, that you have enough money for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of savings to get yourself back on the ground again. Get your feet back on the ground again. Okay, 8 p.m. Eastern meeting. So let's just see. So hold on one second. Um, wow. Fed seen raising interest rates at every policy meeting until the fall. The thing is going to collapse, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for steady Federal Reserve interest rate hikes. That's the view from markets in light of the stronger than expected consumer inflation data. So it's like it's unbelievable, because they're not raising interest rates because of an actual strong economy. So, I mean, this is something that is going to be catastrophic for people, and this is a political issue. The beautiful thing about listening to Michael Invests and Tries to Make Money, and Stansberry Research and all of these channels, is that it's not political. So you could take a break. You could take a break and enjoy, the doom and gloom, which is reality. Doom and gloom is reality, unfortunately. But the good thing is that Clanky, hello. God bless the good people of Canada, who are doing everything to save democracy. The doom and gloom, ladies and gentlemen, is it doesn't have to be. Look, you see what's taking place. You don't have to watch Jaws to know that if great white sharks are circling you and there's chum in the water, and you're a mile out into the ocean, Nothing good's going to take place. You don't need Jerome Powell to tell you, it's probably not good. You don't need someone to tell you you're in a bad situation. You already know this. The writing is on the wall. This entire economy has a sword of Damocles hanging over it. And we did this to ourselves. Well, I should say Democrats did this to us. There was never any reason. Bray! Thank you, Bray. Thank you again, Bray. Thank you. Thank you again, Bray, to my super chat. Thank you so much. I can't do this without you people. Thank you. And I agree. If you can pay off debt, do so. I think that if you can pay off some debt, do so. I think also make sure that, that you have money either, if you're paying off debt and credit cards, you might have to unfortunately use them in a couple of months or 5 or 6 months. I mean, that's just, make sure you just have the ability to tap into reserves in a savings, or, worst case scenario with credit. But you don't want that. You want to have money in savings that for a rainy day. This entire year is going to be a rainy day economically. And I've been telling everybody that since last year. And I know I have a lot of viewers in their 60s and 70s. If you're about to retire, you have no business being in the stock market now. You have no business being in the stock market now. If I had a financial advisor, and I used to be one 20 years ago, I would call my financial advisor if I was in my 60s or my 70s. If I had a financial advisor and I was about to retire next year, or even in 2 years, or even in 3 years, I would say, I want everything sold. I want money in, just cash in the savings account, and that's it. And you're going to get a pushback. Why? That's what I would do. I'm not saying you need to do this or you should do this. I'm not giving any investment advice. I'm saying what I would do. If you take that as investment advice, I'm not giving any specific advice. I'm not saying do this. But I'm saying if I was in my 60s and 70s and I was about to retire, that's what I would do. I would call, if I could get out of stocks or mutual funds or whatever it is, I would just say, you know what? I want liquidity. I want to get out of this, this turbulent market while at least things are as high as they're probably going to be. Who thinks the market's going to go higher? Who thinks the Dow and NASDAQ and S&P are going to go higher? Because of what? Because corporate profits are going to slow down? Because inflation is still going to be rampant even with the interest rate hikes, 6 to 7, and possibly numerous ones at 50 basis points? I'm not this brilliant economist, but if you go to the average million sub leftist on YouTube and you say, hey, there's going to be a 50 basis point interest rate hike, they won't know what you're talking about. They don't even care. They don't know what it is. They don't know what any of this is. All they know is that Republicans are backwards and Trump is a menace to democracy and he worked with Russia. And now they're obsessed over the National Archives, these letters that that Trump took. Okay, yeah, he shouldn't have done that, but it's nothing compared to top secret intelligence on private servers. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And special access program intelligence was just beyond top secret on private servers for 4 years. I mean, they're running out of scandals for Trump. They're running on fumes. Oh my God, he had boxes of letters. And then they say one might be top secret. Okay. They're running on fumes. Mm. I agree with you, Herschel. I think the only thing that is, I think that preservation of capital and liquidity are the two most important things right now. And it doesn't matter if, like, making money in investment is not important right now. Preservation of capital. That's it. That's it. And I mean, tell your friends we are, ladies and gentlemen, over 192,000 subs. I never joined a network. I never, I never joined a network of, you see a lot of these people who have 1 million subs. They joined the network. Ebray, the doomsday clock. Yeah, well, it's still there. It's still there, but they included climate change, and it was like, what? It wasn't even meant for climate change. It was meant for nuclear proliferation. JG, exactly. Exactly. Ebray, it was, the doomsday clock is run by morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats. Okay? So they added climate change to it. It's like, Ed from Queens. Retirees under 62 counted on the market. Well, yeah, I mean, Ed, from now, for the next year and a half, it's only going to be turmoil in the stock market. We're heading into a recession. And, you know, liquidity is going to be so important. People need to access the money. They can't look. If you can't wake up next month or 2 months from now and see your account down 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%, then just make sure you have, um, you know, you can say doomsday clock, but not Ebray. Thank you, Ebray. Um, this right here is the end of, like, all of the valuations here. If you look at how the stock market justifies the valuations, it's based on low interest rates. Okay, that's in part how the earnings and the valuations are justified, because of the low interest rates. And there are people who can better explain exactly why that is. But once interest rates go up and then the corporate profits go down and inflation still keeps going up, because just because they raise interest rates, like Peter Schiff says, that doesn't mean inflation's going to go down. Let's look at Peter Schiff again. That doesn't mean inflation's going to go down. That does not mean inflation's going to go down. Okay? I mean, he says it right here. That does not mean, Ebray, thank you. Spoiler alert. Ebray, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate Ebray to my super chat. Thank you. Just because just because you have money, just because you have interest rates going up, that doesn't mean inflation is going to go down necessarily. That does not mean inflation is going to go down just because you raise interest rates. You have to make sure that the supply chain is no longer broken. You have to make sure that demand doesn't increase while the supply chain is still broken. Then we have oil prices. Okay. Oil prices. Let's see. Brent crude at $91.45. WTI crude at $89. Okay. Everything is why aren't renewables why aren't renewables now taking over? I thought AOC and all the progressives and all the activists and all the scientists were explaining that fossil fuels those days are over and that we have to just decarbonize immediately. So here, after 100 years, okay, so Facebook should be ashamed. So she is wonderful. She is wonderful as well. Lord. But I'm sure he has. Okay. All right. So he's awesome. Alex Epstein is awesome. The number one lesson of skyrocketing gas and coal prices is this: fossil fuel restricting governments have wildly overestimated the ability of solar and wind to provide the energy the world needs and wildly underestimated the need for fossil fuels to provide the energy the world needs. So, I used to be for banning fracking before I even took a second to realize that it could be devastating for the economy. I didn't care. See, when you're on the left, you just don't care. You don't know that there are consequences to these idealistic policies. Europe thought they could ban fracking and restrict other forms of fossil fuel production because mandated subsidized solar and wind would make up for the lost fossil fuel energy. How's that worked out? As you see stories of skyrocketing natural gas prices in Europe and increasing dependence on Russia, know that all of this was totally preventable. So it was all totally preventable. But people didn't care. Or I should say, the morally superior among us. See, there's still, it's just so interesting how you just don't see the same type of response from Democrats pertaining to inflation that they caused because they caused it. That's the problem. They caused it. The markets are slowly waking up to the Fed's dilemma following the release of the worse than expected inflation. So that's another reason the market's going to continue to tank. Following the release of worse than expected inflation, news the dollar rallied and gold sold off based on the false belief higher inflation would force the Fed to get tougher on fighting inflation. Those moves have reversed. Because the Fed has no ability to fight inflation without crashing the markets and the economy, it pretends that inflation was temporary to justify its failure to start a fight. Now it's stopped pretending inflation is temporary, and now it's pretending it's prepared to fight it. Today, the 10-year U.S. Treasury hit 2% with official inflation at 7.5% and actual inflation much higher. Buyers are guaranteed to lose. If the Fed doesn't expand QE, the yield will soon hit 3%. If by then the QE hasn't been expanded, the rise to 4% will be wow. But they're stopping. They're tapering. So this is a self-induced calamity because the morally superior apoplectic among us did this. It is 1,000% their fault. So they did this, and I mean, you know what? I mean, it is just it is so sad what they did. It's so sad that they were able to do this, kind of push us into this scenario. Mikey, thank you. They did this. They did this with the help of media. With the help of media. And every social media algorithm. And they didn't take a moment because they were able to market their propaganda. They were able to sell their propaganda as life-saving. We'll leave it at that. They were able to use tragedy to their advantage. They were able to use sorrow and pain to their advantage, and that's what they're good at. Democrats are very good at using pain and sorrow and tragedy to their political advantage. They're very good at wielding emotions. And they're blaming price gouging. What you could have price gouging in a normal economy and you wouldn't have inflation. That's not what's causing inflation. The skyrocketing demand for oil and gas, in addition to supply chain breakdowns, is causing most of the inflation. You never had inflation has never been caused by corporations price gouging, because guess what? When you raise the price for goods and services too high and consumers refuse to pay, then corporations reduce their prices, decrease their prices. So it has nothing to do with the billionaire class. It has nothing to do with price gouging. It has everything to do with pushing to end the U.S. economy gleefully. They did this. They did this. And what they do is they cause the problems, and then they pretend that they are then they pretend that they're helping you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, share this segment everywhere. We are now over 192,000, ladies and gentlemen, subs. Please go ahead, tell your friends about this channel. Tell your friends about this channel, the Stock Market Crash channel. JG, everybody here. Monique, everybody here. Ebre, thank you so very much. Everyone here, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to 200,000 subs. Tell your friends to subscribe to H.A. Goodman on YouTube and the Stock Market Crash channel, which will be below in the pinned comment on YouTube. Once I get to 200,000, everybody, I'm going to try my best to start doing some stuff on Rumble. We'll see. Amazing Colonel, thank you. JG, thank you so much. Always. It is such a pleasure always. Everybody here, thank you. Eric and Luke, thank you so very much. David, thank you so much. Von Kettering, thank you. Everybody here, have a great evening. It's only going to get worse, people. Make sure you focus on love, happiness, life, laughter, joy, success, because your life Your personal life should not correlate to what's taking place in our country today. Make sure you have a savings, save money every week, every month, because things are going to get worse. And I've been telling everyone this since October, and it's directly because of the Democratic Party policies that tank this economy. Give me your thoughts below. I explained in the Federalist, in my article in the Federalist last October, I predicted all of this. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you so very, very much. I'll see you very soon in a couple of hours.